This podcast has been brought to you by Seeker's Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Help us spread the light of prophetic guidance to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Make a small donation at seekersguidance.org/donate. For as little as $10 a month, you can help people find life-changing guidance.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Alhamdulillah. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to another podcast episode for the provisions for the seekers, Zad al-Talibin. And we are now on hadith number 40, which reads as follows. Sayyidul qawmi fi safari khadimuhum. Sayyidul qawmi fi safari khadimuhum. The Sayyid of a people, the leader of a people on a journey is the one that serves them and serves others. So another way that this is translated by the book that we have been using, Provisions for the Seekers by Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Yusuf Mangera, is on a journey, the leader of the group is their servant. This hadith is related by Ibn Majah, Bayhaqi, and others. And this means that the person who's been elected, the leader of a people, he's their Sayyid, is responsible for the rest of them, to their needs, to what looking after and seeing to their interest, and other things that have to do with what is called khidmah. And khidmah is one of those beautiful Arabic words that have really a vast meaning to it. It's often translated as service, serving others, but khidmah truly ranges in all types of contributions that a person can make towards the greater Muslim community as a whole. So what do we mean by that? We mean that if somebody wants to do service to the Muslim community by developing a website that helps and funds a charity, or for spreading sacred knowledge, or a person that knows sound engineering, fixes the microphone and the system in the masjid so that the imam who recites, people really enjoy the Quranic recitation, that is khidmah. The website making, for example, would be khidmah. Cleaning the masjid or cleaning any type of voluntary work towards something noble is all called khidmah in its service, right? So, but here on a journey, because part of the sunnah is if three people go on a journey, one should be elected as the amir or the leader in that travel. This is a sunnah. And so that the person who is elected, he has to make sure that he takes care of, looks after the needs of the other people in their travel, that he makes sure that all the things that they are in need of and that they need to do in order to have a good journey, he needs to make sure that he does all that. So he's at their service. And this is kind of the opposite model, where it's not like, oh, you're the leader, now you just go around and you command others what to do, right? This is what it's teaching us. It's teaching us that the true leader of a people is the one that takes care of their needs, right? He's at the service of others. He is out, serving, doing things. If you look at our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, there was never a good that he commanded to except he was the first to do it, right? Whether it was in the battle of Khandaq or it was in the battles of Badr and others, that you saw the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he was absolutely involved like all the other Sahaba. He was involved in digging the actual trench. He was involved in, when they were hungry, he also had a lot of hunger. When it was cold, he was out in the cold. In fact, even in the Battle of Badr, for example, when the companions got some sleep, he was up all night praying, making sure that he did his part in granting victory to the believers. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he embodied that in the best way. If you look at those after him, like Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anh, when he was the Khalifa and Amir al-Mu'mineen of the entire Muslim Ummah and community as a whole, you can see Sayyidina Umar, there's a famous story that is narrated how he went out in the night and got flour and got cooking material and went to cook for an old woman who had children, or a widowed woman, and they didn't have food, they didn't have anything, and their children were crying because of hunger. And not only did he just go and bring the food to her, but he actually cooked it and made it himself And not only that, but he actually stayed until the children ate their fill and were happy and they went to sleep. Because he said, I'm going to be asked about that on the Day of Judgment. So subhanAllah, you can see that where did he get that example from? Who gave him this guidance? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Islam, the beautiful religion, the religion of truth, taught Sayyidina Umar that if you're going to be a leader of a community, you have to serve others and you have to make sure they're taken care of. This is opposite of the model that we find today, where corrupt leaders of Muslim countries and many places where they're elected leaders, and instead of doing something to serve their communities, they're sitting on high thrones, they're abusing their fellow Muslims, they're citizens of their countries, and we don't want to go into politics, but they really suffer, and they don't have that model, they don't understand. So in travel, the person who's elected to be the leader has to make sure that he serves them and takes care of them. Another way that scholars have understood this is that they say that the murad, or the purpose or the intent of this, is to show that those who serve others in reality are getting the most reward. Therefore, they're the master. In other words, they're the people that attain the most reward. They're the ones that are truly the Sayyid, even though others may be above them in rank, because they are getting the most reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so that they actually deserve to be the true leader of that group, right? And so even outwardly, if it appears that they're low, in reality, they may not have that title, they may not have that station, but with Allah, they are truly the leader, and they are truly the ones that deserve leadership because of their service. And so leaders come from amongst our own communities, people that struggle, people that serve. When you have a track record of service, you deserve to be the leader. You don't become a leader just because you want the title and name. You become the leader because you earned it, right? You did the job. You established a certain responsibility, or you had responsibilities you fulfilled, you lived up to. And so people recognize your talent and people recognize your service, and then that's how you're elected a leader, right? And so though it mentions safar, which is travel, it is certainly true for all other aspects of life. The take-home message for all of us, brothers and sisters, is that if we truly want leadership, and we should never want leadership in general as Muslims, right? Leadership is something we have to try to push ourselves, not wanting that leadership. But if you are elected as a leader, then you need to get busy and help and serve and make sure that things run according to the responsibilities that you're given. May Allah Ta'ala bless us all to have this noble, exemplary kind of actions that show us to be worthy of the titles people give us. Ameen Ya Rabbil Alameen. Hadith number 41. This is a very dear hadith to me because I really, really love knowledge. I love the acquisition of knowledge. Knowledge to me has changed my life. Knowledge, without knowledge in my life, I don't know where I would be as a Muslim. Knowledge has been the fruit that has sustained me. Knowledge is the quenching of my thirst that is really altered my whole life. It is the joy of my heart, and it is something that has always kept me connected to my religion, and subhanAllah, always makes me so happy when I read and I learn new things. And I hope the same is true for your case. So hadith number 41, this blessed hadith reads, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. Let's break it down. طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. To seek sacred knowledge is an obligation on every Muslim. To seek sacred knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. So, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. To seek sacred knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. Some narrations also mention upon every Muslim man and woman, to emphasize that طلب العلم is, and we'll see some virtues of this, to seek sacred knowledge. Now, I like the term sacred knowledge because it's not just any knowledge. Talabul ilm is not just any knowledge. It's not knowledge of a video game. It's not, codes you learn, skins you may attain from playing games, different things that you attain. That's not what knowledge is. Knowledge is that which benefits your hereafter. It is that which gives you reward in your grave, that which brings you near to Allah and His Messenger, that which makes you a better Muslim, that which increases you in some type of knowledge of the religion that then enhances your level of understanding. That's called ilmun nafi', beneficial knowledge. That's what sacred knowledge is. But in more detail, we can say that there are two types of knowledge. And I hope you all stay with me, inshallah, on this. There's what is called fard ayn and fard kifaya. Fard ayn and fard kifaya. Fard ayn is knowledge that every single man and woman, Muslim, must know, and it is obligatory to know, and there's no excuse for not learning. That's fard ayn, personal obligatory knowledge. We're going to give examples of that in a minute. Then there is what is called fard kifaya, which is communal obligation. Obligations upon the community as a whole, not upon every individual. But then how do you fulfill that, right? So what the scholars mention is, if a group of people fulfill that responsibility of doing or acquiring knowledge of something that is obligatory on them, then the responsibility is removed from the rest of the Muslim community. And on top of that, those who fulfill that responsibility will be rewarded for the rest of the Muslims as well for fulfilling the communal obligation. So let's look at this piece by piece. First of all, the first type of knowledge, fard ayn, personal obligatory knowledge, is, for example, knowledge that relates to learning your beliefs, learning about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, learning about the prophets. Who are they? What do we believe about the prophets? Were they just normal human beings? Did they commit any wrong actions? God forbid, which they didn't, right? What are the attributes attached to the prophets? Like in a simple way, just to add to it, we believe every prophet was truthful. They didn't commit sins. They're infallible. They fulfilled their aman and their trust that Allah Ta'ala gave them, and they delivered their message very clearly. So we believe in the hereafter. We believe in the punishment and realities of the grave. We believe in, the hereafter, the paradise, the hellfire. We believe that this, and that. All these things is the realm of aqidah. We call that aqidah or creed or beliefs. All is the same. We're talking about what Muslims believe in and what you're obligated to know and believe in Islam. Okay, so I think I'm very clear on that. What exactly is fard ayn? Now that relates to our beliefs. Then there's an aspect of fard ayn that then relates to actions such as worship. I want to go make wudu to pray. What do I need to know about making wudu? That's fard ayn. That's personally obligatory for every Muslim to know what breaks wudu, what doesn't break wudu, how to perform wudu properly. That goes under this category. Then I want to pray. Is the prayer time in? What are the conditions of the prayer? How do I know if my prayer is right? Did I pray it correctly? What if I make mistake? What do I need to know about it? That's all obligatory. Zakat. I have a lot of money. I'm not sure. How much do I pay? How do I pay? What is obligatory? What is not? That is personally obligatory. And when you fast in the month of Ramadan, how do I fast? What breaks the fast? What doesn't? For example, these types of things are all obligatory upon every single Muslim to know. Right? And then there's a level of the Quran that is obligatory to know, such as the proper recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha in another surah or two that helps you to pray correctly. All of that is personally obligatory upon every Muslim. The fard kifaya are things like some in the community of the Muslims must memorize the Quran. Some must know all the relevant knowledge that relates to commercial transactions, divorce, marriage, the intricate rulings of Hajj, preservation of Hadith, to memorize Hadith, to transmit Hadith, to know its sciences, to preserve the depth of Islamic law. But then there's things also like janazah prayer, the funeral prayer, the Eid prayer, right? There are different things that, although the Eid prayer is a wajib prayer according to the Hanafi school, but there are things that relate to like having hospitals. If a great Muslim community full of sheikhs and all these knowledgeable people does not have a doctor and no hospitals, someone gets sick, the person dies because we don't have any doctors anywhere, and then so that becomes sinful. So we need, people that are able to build things, protect things. So all that becomes sacred as well if the person who learns that knowledge does it to earn a reward with Allah. Then an engineer will be rewarded by Allah for fulfilling fard kifaya. A doctor will be rewarded for becoming a doctor, and so forth, so forth and so on. Every relevant topic or knowledge becomes rewarded, so on and so forth, as I mentioned. So, on all that, what do you need to do to gain that reward? Have an intention to do it for the sake of Allah. Make an intention for khidmah or service to the Muslim community. And so while you're in medical school, while you're learning engineering, while you are, becoming a pediatrician or a doctor of or whatever it could be, or other than doctor, you want to be some other need that there is, right? You want to learn math, you want to be able to teach the sciences, reading and writing, whatever it could be. You become an English teacher, for example. All those things are noble, and if your intention is for the sake of Allah, you'll get that reward. So fard kifaya does vary place to place, and you look at the need of the community. So there are these types. This is one way that knowledge is classified as fard ayn, fard kifaya. Now, I want to look a little bit about just some things that relate to the rewards of learning. The rewards of learning. First of all, alhamdulillah, as Muslims, just being a Muslim, there's great good and benefit, of course, we know, in just being Muslim. For example, one of the benefits of being a Muslim is that there are so many elements around you that is asking Allah Ta'ala to forgive you, and you're even unaware of it. You're not even aware of it, we can say. Let me give you one example, and this may shock you, and it may also bring a big smile to your face right now about what I'm about to read. I'm reading a verse in the Quran that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, A'udhu billahi min shaitan rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الذين يحملون العرش ومن حوله يسبحون بحمد ربهم ويؤمنون به ويستغفرون للذين آمنوا ربنا وسعت كل شيء رحمة وعلما فاغفر للذين تابوا واتبعوا سبيلك وقهم عذاب الجحيم. Those who carry the throne of Allah and those around it glorify their Lord with praise, and they believe in Allah. And listen very carefully to this part. These same angels that carry the throne, and the throne is not like a big chair you imagine, God forbid, la qaddarullah, anybody, this image comes to your head, please take it out of your head immediately. It is not a big throne and some human type of thing sitting on it. This is kufr. We don't believe in that. The reality of the arsh is unknown to us, but it is the summation of the greatest thing that Allah Ta'ala has created in all of creation. And it encompasses the heavens and the earth, etc., etc. And we believe in it as we're told. Those who carry the throne of Allah and those around it praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believe in Allah. And then listen, they ask forgiveness for those who believe. You see that? That's you and I, inshallah. Because we believe in Allah and we will be included in this, and we ask Allah Ta'ala to make us die as Muslims. So we're beneficiaries of this beautiful dua from the angels. Not just any angels, but those who carry the throne. And there are 8 of them in an ayah. And so these gigantic angels are beyond our understanding and capacity. We believe in them, we don't know the exact nature of them. And they say, Rabbana, O our Lord, وَسِعْتَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ رَحْمَةً وَعِلْمًا, O our Lord, you have encompassed everything in mercy and knowledge. فَاغْفِرْ لِلَّذِينَ تَابُوا, O Allah, forgive those who repent. So that's the first thing we should do, is we should repent always. And those who follow your path, your way, and protect them from the agony of the blaze. And then the first part of this though is وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So all who believe in Allah and His Messenger who are Muslim are beneficiaries of their dua. But the reason I brought this up is first of all to make you understand the great merit and worth that you have with Allah. And then how about the person who seeks knowledge? So listen to this, okay? Those who seek knowledge, there's a hadith that says that the seeker of knowledge, everything asks Allah to forgive them, even the fish in the ocean. Even the fish in the ocean ask Allah Ta'ala to forgive them. In one narration, it mentions that Allah and His angels and the inhabitants of the heavens and the earths, even the ants in their holes and the fish in the ocean, pray upon the one that teaches people good, the one that teach people khair and good, sacred knowledge. Okay, in this hadith, for example, the scholars mention that the seeker of knowledge, there is so much good that they're seeking. Why do they get this reward? Because they're seeking good for people. They're learning and teaching what is khair for all of humanity in their deen and their dunya and their akhirah. So all that relates to how to be a good Muslim in this world and the next. So what you're learning is benefiting your worldly life and your other worldly life. So one of the ulama, he mentioned this, a beautiful point I thought I'd share, that why does it say the ant and the whale, right? And many commentators say that in this is an ishara, an indication that the ant is the smallest thing, normally what people think of, and the fishes, the whale in particular, is the biggest. So the biggest animal or mammal, we should say, in the ocean, and the smallest little creature on the land, from the smallest creature from the land to the biggest creature in the ocean, and everything in between, asks Allah for forgiveness and blessings on the one who teaches others good, and li talib al-ilm in particular, then for them all ask forgiveness for them. Though this appears in other places, for the person that, for example, fasts, for the person that gets up for suhoor. So alhamdulillah, our religion is so beautiful in that there's so many opportunities for us to be included amongst the recipients of these great blessings of dua and forgiveness and all this khair that is coming from many, many different corners and ways. And of course, there are, subhanAllah, I don't want to bring up all the hadiths on just the virtue of knowledge, but one I will give, that فَضْلُ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ كَفَضْلِ عَلَى أَدْنَاكُمْ. The preference of a scholar over the devout worshipper is like my preference, the Prophet ﷺ says, over the least of you. So in another narration, it says, وَإِنَّ طَالِبِ الْعِلْمِ يَسْتَغْفِرُ لَهُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. That the talib al-ilm, the seeker of knowledge, everything asks forgiveness for them. You see that? And then there are other narrations that mention as well, talabul ilmi khayrun, seeking knowledge is better than prayer and fasting, right? In one narration, for example, says talabul ilm afdalu min as-salat an-nafila. Seeking knowledge, sacred knowledge, is better than supererogatory prayer. Right, supererogatory prayer, the nawafil, to seek a bab of knowledge just in the night, just learning one chapter a night, is better than, for example, praying 1,000 rakats of nafila. Also, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said that when the children of Adam die, all their actions are cut off except 3. And one of the categories that he mentions from this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the one that leaves behind knowledge that others benefit from. Leaves knowledge others benefit from. So look at the works of Imams in the past, like Imam an-Nawawi, Riyadh al-Salihin, for example, in every house of every Muslim and taught worldwide for hundreds and hundreds of years. Imagine how much reward Imam an-Nawawi is getting in his grave every time someone reads his book. Someone acts upon a hadith that is narrated in his book, radiyallahu an. This is incredible. And the seeker of knowledge also guides others, right? So there's a narration that mentions that for Allah to guide one person through you is better for you than red camels. And red camels were the most prized thing for the Arabs. I don't want to compare it to anything in our time because I don't want to alter the meaning of this. This is exactly what it says. But by comparison, we could say that most people what's the most expensive commodity for people in our time, or we can say a vehicle, right? Because camels are like things you travel on, right? They're possessions, they're wealth, but they're also things you travel on. Would be like things like Rolls Royces, right? Lamborghinis, Ferraris. These are very expensive cars. For Allah to guide one person through you is better than Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all these other things that are very, very expensive. But the worth of a guidance of a single individual is better than all of that. In fact, it's better than the world and everything in it. So the recipient of the person teaching and learning is radiant faces, hearts that are in line with the divine command. And on and on and on. There's so many virtues of knowledge. SubhanAllah, the one who takes on a path seeking knowledge, Allah will ease his path onto Jannah. And the angels lay down their wings in honor or in the rida, which is the contentment for the seeker of knowledge. So there are angels that lower their wings in this rida, you could say, in this contentment of them for the person who is learning knowledge and seeking knowledge and teaching knowledge. So whether you are learning, teaching, supporting, all will be in this great category, right? Man dalla ala al-khayri kafa'ilihi. Whoever guides to a good is like the one who does it. So teaching, learning, supporting, you will all be included amongst this great, great category. SubhanAllah, I can go on and on and on about the virtues of learning, the virtue of teaching, etc. But inshallah, that will suffice for this week's narration. There's actually one more hadith that we'll cover, and that is the following. Hadith number 42. Try to cover at least 3 to 4 hadiths every episode. Hadith number 42 reads, أصدق الرؤيا بالأسحار. أصدق الرؤيا بالأسحار. The most truthful of dreams are those seen right before dawn. The most truthful of dreams are seen right before dawn. So, what are those dreams? What is a ru'ya? A ru'ya is a true dream. What are true dreams? Let's kind of back up a little bit. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that true dreams are 1/46th of prophecy. Right? Prophecy ends with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's no more revelation, but left behind are true dreams, a ru'ya, or we could say revealing dreams, true dreams, dreams that have within it 1/46th of prophecy. Now, one could see dreams all the time, but what this hadith is teaching us is that the time that you're most likely going to have a dream that's a true dream, that's a blessed dream, that the interpretation is most sound for a noble dream that you had, are dreams that occur before Fajr. Ashar are before dawn. Allah Ta'ala says, for example, in the Quran, وَبِالْأَصْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. In the ashar time, which is suhoor, which is the time right before dawn, the last third of the night before Fajr is the best time of the night. And the scholars say what some of the factors that contribute to why that's a special time is that right before dawn is the time when a person's mind is mostly calm. It's a peaceful time. It's a time that angels descend down. There's a shift of the angels. Angels come down and they're prepared to witness the morning prayer. The Fajr prayer is witnessed. وَقُرْآنِ الْفَجْرِ. The Quran of Fajr, meaning the time of the prayer of Fajr, is mashhood. It is witnessed by angels. Means it's a very special time, and the time before it is even more so. It's also a time, brothers and sisters, that du'as are accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's hadiths that mention that in the last third of the night, Allah ta'ala asks His creation, who has a need that I may fulfill it? Who is asking for forgiveness that I may forgive him? Who has this, and that? so that I may answer them, forgive them, and respond to their needs. SubhanAllah. But it's also the most difficult time of your day to get up. So you see, the most difficult time there is to get up has the most rewards. Such is the case with most things in life. The more harder something is, the more reward you get. We used to say, no pain, no gain. You don't struggle, what reward do you have, right? The harder something is, the sweeter the victory, the sweeter the reward, the greater dedication you show to your religion. So next time you wake up from an amazing dream where you see the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, you see the righteous, you're in a wonderful place, and if you wake up and you're like, oh, it's actually 20 more minutes left for Fajr, odds are that was a very blessed and true dream. And odds are if you have a dream that you really think was amazing, but it was like after Fajr, it was in the middle of the day or some other time, it doesn't mean it's not a true dream, but odds are it's not as true as the ones are before Fajr. And Wallahu A'lam, and Allah knows best. Jazakumullahu khairan for joining us once again on another episode. Inshallah, we look forward to continuing in Hadith number 43 onwards on our next episode. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Seeker's Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Visit seekersguidance.org to access reliable Islamic knowledge taught by qualified teachers. We offer a wide range of courses, podcasts, articles, and a world-class answer service. Support us in spreading free, reliable Islamic knowledge to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Visit seekersguidance.org/donate and make a small monthly commitment today. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever guides someone to goodness will have a similar reward." So don't forget to share this podcast and spread prophetic guidance.